Hope Channel, changing lives.
Good evening, and you are welcome to the consulting room. And as you always have us on Monday evenings on your screens, we are here to give you all the information you need regarding your health. Consulting room and the Management of Hope channel is offering our unreserved apologies for not being able to air the show we broadcasted last week. We hope that we will be able to air it when it is very possible in the near future. So today we are going to have a very interesting conversation. I always say our conversations are interesting because we have a lot of misconceptions about the things that we do to our bodies and our health. So when we have these conversations, we find out what is actually supposed to be done and what is not supposed to be done. And talking about things we do to our body, what kind of milk do you take? Have you been looking for 100% plant-based milk that is dairy-free, cholesterol-free, lactose-free, gluten-free, allergic-free, soya-free, 100% vegetarian with no artificial flavors, colors, additives or preservatives? Then your best bet is cocoa milk. Cocoa milk is sugar-free. It is low in calories, it is also low in fat, and is good for your well-being. You are guaranteed of plant protein, plant fiber, and plant fats. The good news is cocoa milk is good for every tummy, from toddlers to seniors, including breastfeeding moms and pregnant women. Even ulcer and diabetes patients, anemic and sickle cell patients can take cocoa milk. Cocoa milk is approved by FDA Ghana, the Vegan and Vegetarian Society in UK. You can get some from all Melcom supermarkets, from the Valley View shops. You can also get from cocoa milk from NS Chemist and all trading shops. For further inquiries and bulk purchase, call them on phone on 0277 444 0180. 0277 444 0180. You're welcome to the consulting room, Dr. Isaac Nyantechi and Miss Joanna Chasam.
Thank you.
Please, how are you all doing?
We are doing fine.
How was the weekend?
Stressful.
Oh.
Okay, it looks short.
When is the weekend ever long? Even when we have 4 days or 5 days as weekend, yeah, it is still short.
Maybe because last week was a holiday, it was longer.
So
this one,
another holiday today.
Well, too bad that we have to get back to work.
Sure.
Dr. Nyantechi, you are a pharmacist.
Yeah.
You know drugs.
Yeah.
You're a drug dealer.
Not a drug. Okay, well, we're a drug dealer, but we're dealing drugs that you can take. Not
okay.
That
are not good for us. And Miss Chasam, you are also a microbiologist.
Yes.
Okay. And I learned that you are also a medical laboratory scientist.
Yes.
What do you people do?
Okay, so for the laboratory scientist, our work is to investigate, help with the diagnosis. So when a doctor has a suspicion of a case, we need to confirm as to what needs to be done. Okay. So we help with the diagnosis of clients whenever they are sick. Okay. But as a microbiologist, my interest is in bacteria, viruses, fungi, and then parasites.
COVID-19.
Sure.
Okay, we are going to go for a very quick break, and when we come back, we'll go right into antibiotics and what it is doing to us.
Sure.
In Ghana, in our hospitals and in our homes. Yeah. Do well to stay with us when we come back from the break.
Cocoa dairy-free coconut milk. Cocoa dairy-free coconut milk is a fully plant-based milk, non-curdling in tea or coffee, and is a lovely treat with any breakfast beverage or meal. It contains calcium and vitamin D2 for strong teeth and bones, and vitamin B12 to help boost your blood for vitality. Cocoa is 100% vegetarian and is approved by the Vegetarian Society of UK. It's also lactose and dairy-free, which is good even for people with lactose intolerance. Cocoa, get one today. Cocoa dairy-free coconut milk. Nature's health at your doorstep. For bulk purchases, contact 027-444-0180. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA. Cocoa dairy-free coconut milk.
It's not a job that's restricted to 9 to 5 at a desk. It's not necessarily comfortable work. As a humanitarian, you're on the clock when a disaster happens, and whether that means stepping outside of church to respond when there's been an earthquake, whether that means flying away from a family event to help out after a hurricane, or whether it means my colleagues in the field living through the event, living through the disaster. They still get up, they still go. More than a job, it's a calling. We are called to do what God will have us do to serve humanity, and it happens to be working for ADRA.
Welcome back to the consulting room. Today I have a pharmacist and a microbiologist who also doubles as a medical laboratory scientist. Yes, I was about to say technician. I know they are similar, but they are different.
Sure, they are two different.
So there's this thing going around. There are sometimes in the hospital, some people come and they have a fever, they are not feeling well, and we have to do something called blood cultures, and then it comes back and everything is R. Why is this thing happening? What's happening that a lot of people are getting these R's, and what's the meaning of the R's that we are getting?
Okay, so for us as laboratory scientists or microbiologists, what we do is to test for samples, and then when there are bacteria, either viruses, parasites, or fungi are present, then we do what we call a susceptibility testing, which we test it against common drugs by standards that we know, which are supposed to work for that kind of bacteria or
So you don't do the testing randomly? You don't just take any drug and decide to test it?
No. There are standards that we follow. So if this kind of organism is isolated, we know certain kinds of drugs that we need to test against them. So what we usually do is, after the growth of the cultures, the next day when there is a growth, then we test against those antimicrobials. And you asked about the RRR.
Yes. We've been seeing it a lot.
Yes, so when we test it against the drugs, now there is a limit which tells us that when, so this is like an in vivo or in vitro test we are doing.
Please, on this show.
Sure.
English, in vivo, in vitro.
Okay, so this is an outside test we are doing from what is actually occurring in the client.
Okay.
So this bacteria is probably growing in the client or the patient. So we test the drugs against it. Then we could tell that this one will be susceptible. Then it means that when you give this medication to the client, it will work. If we say it is resistant, then it means that if you give this medication to the client, it wouldn't work. So you can't give this medication to their clients.
So there's this thing going around that there's something called antimicrobial resistance. Is it present in Ghana? Because Ghana, we are not even that far advanced with our drugs for us to get antimicrobial resistance.
It's really going on in Ghana, and It's simple. Antibiotics or antimicrobials are supposed to make sure that organisms die when they come to our bodies. So whichever way that antibiotic works, the bacteria is able to learn how it works and now defend itself from the antimicrobial. So that's what they do in the lab. They test it against the organism, and they see the organism is resistant, so definitely the organism doesn't die. So this is what goes on in people's bodies, and sometimes when we give people medications, they don't work. And then you move on to the next antibiotic, it doesn't work.
So we've been saying antimicrobial organism. Explain it to us in simple terms.
So let me say antimicrobials are anything that can harm or kill microbes. So microbes can be viruses, bacteria, fungus, parasites. So parasites like malaria, fungus like maybe candida. We can have virus like
COVID-19.
Okay.
Now a very popular virus.
Very popular virus. And then we can have bacteria like staph aureus, which normally happens in the throat. So we have bacteria in all parts of the body. We can have E. coli, which is very common in GI. So all these things have
common where?
In the stomach. Because we use those terms at work, it's our fault. So these things happen, and sometimes these antimicrobials cannot kill them. So that's when we have the resistance.
So does it mean that once you have these microbes or the viruses and the bacteria, the fungi, the parasites, doesn't mean that they all cause harm to us, so we must definitely kill them with something?
Okay, so that's the problem. We have bacteria everywhere. Even right now that I'm not sick, if you take sample from my mouth or my tummy or anywhere, you might find bacteria. But that's the beauty of it. Sometimes we even take probiotics because we want to put bacteria in us. In our tummy.
The yogurts,
yes, the yogurt and
the pills.
Yes, so they are needed. But when other bacteria which can harm us, like the E. coli that I talked about, they come in here, we decide to take antibiotics. So sometimes even the antibiotics that we take, because there's nothing in our tummy, someone will say, oh, mayhem or something. Probably it's just antacid that you need. You take antibiotics, and then you kill the good ones, and the one that is also bad will learn how to, survive within that space.
Oh, they are smart like that.
Very smart.
Hey, then we have to be careful, because someone has a running nose, goes to the pharmacist, comes to you people, and then they come and tell you what they want, and through some means, some pharmacists or some pharmacies sell them to the people who come demanding for it.
So I want to say that some of these organisms, gone in its own way, have added them to certain parts in our bodies. So they are resident microbes. They are there. When they move from where they usually stay to another place, now they are transient microbes which can cause disease there. So let's say on our skin we have staph epidermidis, staph on our skin. They are okay being on the skin, but once they are moved from the skin to, let's say, an internal organ, that is not where they are supposed to be. So they start causing havoc there. But then if someone doesn't wait for a test to say this is what you have, so you need this form of treatment, but decide to go in for any of the antimicrobials, we are trying to clear even the transient, the resident
ones that are supposed
to be there. So we leave the environment very bare for any other one to fully take over and then start causing havoc.
You've cleared the land. Somebody will come and plant their seeds there because you are not guarding it.
You are not guarding it.
Oh, okay. Sure. So what is the picture concerning the use of antibiotics, particularly in our communities? Because I think before the show began, you mentioned that some of these aquatic farmers use antibiotics. I had no idea concerning that. Is it that bad? And how what's the picture like, if you can paint it to us?
Okay, so we have antibiotics are used everywhere. So now, because as we were talking about the aquatic farming, these organisms are just like us. They get sick.
By aquatic farming, I mean water.
Yes. So I mean, okay. So like tilapia farming, and so they need water. They get sick.
Okay.
So sometimes we need to give them.
Oh, fishes get sick.
Yeah, like animals. Your dog can get sick.
Hey.
Yes. So it's about, because we are doing production, we want to prevent. It's like they want to prevent all of them from getting sick. You can't find a sick fish among all. So what they do is that they pump in antibiotics to all of them. Okay. So nobody gets sick.
Okay.
But because they're just pumping in these antibiotics directly to them, these microorganisms, just like we had COVID, we have Delta variants and those things. So they change. They learn how these microbes are. So when you give someone antibiotics, when the person doesn't need it, the organism is still there. Now learns how it works, how like drugs, they are supposed to act in particular, maybe the cell wall, and so when they learn it, then now they provide defense systems on how to prevent themselves from getting killed by that. So if the fishes take these microbes, the microbes that get used to these ones, the fishes are there, we eat them, and then these microbes travel all the way somewhere. Because they have been learning, when we get exposed, by that time, if amoxicillin is what they give to the fishes, that organism will not work.
Resistant to
yes, so now when I take my amoxicillin, it won't work because it's already started from the fishes. Animals too, sometimes it leaks into even our rivers. Okay. And then we also drink it. Okay. So it's a whole form of cascade that is going on. Okay.
So doctor, when it comes to antimicrobial resistance, well, you can see the t-shirt,
fighting
AMR at all costs.
Yes.
We are championing antimicrobial resistance when it comes to...
I think we all need to, because...
You see, it is becoming a silent something. I mean, all we know is the malarias, we know the COVID now, we know the tuberculosis, we know the HIV. But it's like, I want to say that it looks like antimicrobial resistance is killing us silently. I can't categorize it as a silent killer.
Yes, yeah.
But on the low tone, it is killing us.
A lot of harm.
Now, what's from our place we are even trying to preach is One Health. Okay. The One Health is to look at antimicrobial resistance in humans, in animals, and then in the environment. Okay. Because these animals, we take them in. The residues of the antimicrobials that were given to them. So let's say I don't abuse antimicrobials. Yes. But I enjoy my banku and tilapia.
Who doesn't?
I enjoy my rice and chicken.
Yes, chicken.
The farmer have already boosted their system with antimicrobials. I take them in, the residues are in. So already I also start building resistance.
Exactly.
Now these things too can seep into the environment, which sometimes they become more virulent in the environment.
By virulence, you mean?
Sorry, they become more serious to cause diseases. So they wouldn't have caused diseases as normal as they were. But once they go into the environment,
undergone training.
They go,
they have one extra protection for themselves.
They learn new things. So where sometimes you call them the super bugs, they now like build themselves up. They come in. So we live in an ecosystem, human, animals, environment. We are all moving this way. So if there's a resistance here, it can go to human, go to animals in a cycle form. It's a serious matter we're talking about.
Yeah.
WHO says that by the year 2050,
which is
like 20 years and a little.
28.
In a
28
year,
years.
Yes. In a year, we should be expecting about 10 million deaths from antimicrobial.
That's a lot of people.
A lot of people.
Yeah. Even now, we have, like, when we take all the deaths in the world, 1.3 million is due to antimicrobial resistance, because the person is sick.
That's like almost all the people in
maybe in Accra. Or let's say like 5 plane crash or even more.
Okay.
Because somebody came and was sick and no antibiotic works, so the person naturally dies.
Yeah.
So
it's a really serious problem.
When you have the money to pay, but you can't
get the medication you need.
That's very serious.
No, even if you can get the one that you are getting is not working.
It's not working
exactly.
for you.
Then this thing is a big problem in the communities that we are living in.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So are there laws that regulate how antibiotics, antimicrobials, are there laws, especially in Ghana, that regulate them? And if there are laws, who is enforcing it?
For the pharmacy side, I would say that there are laws. There's this Public Health Act and then the Professionals Regulatory Bodies Act. It regulates how we prescribe. The Public Health Act regulates how doctors prescribe, and then also the Health Professionals Regulatory Bodies Act also regulates how we also serve. So if it's not a prescription, don't serve. If you have not probed further to see whether the person really needs the antibiotic, don't serve. But the problem now in Ghana is some people also want to make money. So where the person comes in, sometimes even the patient puts pressure on the pharmacist that I need this. Can you tell? I mean, they say all sorts of things because they think that's what's best for them. But I think sometimes if you take the time to explain to them, they're able to understand that they are rather causing more harm than good. So they just thank you and just leave it there and rather take what you have suggested, because sometimes people don't really need antibiotics.
Okay.
I think if you really eat well, you wouldn't need antibiotics anyhow. If you have a cold, just drink more water, you'll be fine. But people just want to pump in antibiotics. And even sometimes the way they take it, that's the problem. Maybe we are giving it right, but the person gets the antibiotic and he has a wound. He opens it and puts the wound.
It's true. Topaye.
Your mom will tell you that go and buy that one. That one heals faster.
Yellow and black goes. Yellow and red and black. And people will come to the consulting room and tell you that this is the one that I like. The color of the pill is. How am I supposed to know what?
That's the reason why clinical stopped working and now it's out of the system. And sometimes when you give them the antibiotic, take it for 7 days. The person will take it for 5 days, it's fine. You leave that
sometimes
2 days.
After 2 days they are feeling better.
So they will forget about it. And when it's there and someone gets sick, they'll go and start it.
And I was sick.
I've already started. They'll even come and tell you that, oh, my starting to me twice.
No, there was a national action plan on antimicrobial resistance that was launched by Ghana Health Service in the year 2017. And it was an action to look at how some of these antimicrobials are used, because it was becoming a menace. So I think even in the year 2015, there was a World General Assembly where there was a decision that we need to start fighting antimicrobial resistance, because the rate at which we are getting resistance, it's becoming difficult. And with this, I have taken this medication. It worked for me just the past Friday. So I told you I'm a laboratory scientist. Yes. So there was a test done for malaria test done for a client. RDT is saying it's positive.
RDT.
That is a rapid diagnostic test.
The one that
we do
at
the pharmacy is saying it's positive. But you know, when you come to the laboratory, we use a microscope to look at it. If the parasites are still there.
You even count how many
yes, we
parasites are in
so
there.
we looked at it, it was negative.
Okay.
And in instances like that, it means the person has started medication.
Okay.
So we asked the woman, have you started any medication? She said no. And we are like, no, it can't work this way. So we had to probe further. Then she said, oh, my son bought it. He didn't finish using it. So I decided to use
anti-malarial, that's 3 days.
Yes. But I still feel unwell. So that is why I came. So this is where we are heading to, especially when the medicine is quite expensive too. Okay, I'll save it so that someone else to...
No, but drugs are not cheap. Healthcare is not cheap. So why do we still go by the mentality that it has to be cheap?
Yeah, I mean, for the malaria thing, it's really going on. A lot of people take malaria pills and stop when they feel better. And some too also don't test it. Now, Africa, everything is malaria. So when you feel sick, oh, let's go and treat malaria. With time, some... like chloroquine.
Yes, that's what I was going to mention.
So
even aside chloroquine, I think there was artemether. No, there was
amodiaquine.
Yes. When I was growing up, I remember I used to take that. Then I became a doctor, and now it's artemether lumefantrine, and they tell you that the other one doesn't work. So with time, these artemether lumefantrine will not work. It happens. It's happening with all the microbes, even fungus. Now, what the women do is that they just take fluconazole. Sometimes it's like whenever they finish their period, then they take it. And with time, candida will be resistant to fluconazole, and that will be a very big problem for women. Yeah. So you can imagine. About this menstruation and taking fluconazole, you know, some ladies. It was on this show that I got to know that some ladies take full course antibiotics after every month's cycle. My God. And well, I was so shocked because they claim that it's dirty blood that is left, so the antibiotics will clear it, and then they'll have a new system for the next month. It's really going on. People just come and then they will just tell you, I'm buying fluconazole. You wouldn't know what it's like. They are just taking it. They just heard that, okay, I have to take something, just as you're saying. So these things are what people are doing that we want people to stop. Doctors are doing their part to stop antimicrobial resistance. Pharmacists are doing laboratory technology. So what's the patient doing? And what's the agricultural sector also doing? That's also another part. Even disposal of sometimes these wastes. Some of these wastes are supposed to be medically handled and bent, which shouldn't seep into, because these things are already with the antibiotics and the rest. And even disposal of drugs. You don't use the drug, so you decide that, okay, let me just throw it away. You just flush it in the sink, or for all you know, it's just going into somewhere, into the sea. The fishes will get. So it's a whole ecosystem.
It's a whole ecosystem that
a whole ecosystem that everyone need to be part of it to fight it.
So who is enforcing these regulations?
I think. Well, I can't say who is enforcing it now.
Who is supposed to enforce it?
Maybe FDA.
Maybe.
Yeah. But yes.
But you see, each and every one of us have a part to play. The clinician attending to the patient has a part to play. The patient himself or herself have a part to play. Because sometimes it's disheartening. Even babies who are born anew are resistant to certain medications. I mean, fresh babies who are born some few days. So you ask yourself, where did they pick it up from? I mean, let's say an innocent baby who doesn't know anything. Where did that baby pick that thing from? You understand? So I think all of us have a part to play. The law enforcers the prescribers, the clients who are going to buy it, everyone has a part to play in the fight against antimicrobial resistance.
Okay, so we have a part to play. I hope eventually Ghana we find who is actually playing their part and who is not, so that those who are not playing their part can be brought to book. Because how can a 2-day-old baby, a 1-week-old baby be resistant to something they've not taken before?
Sure.
Well, we are going to go for a break again, and when we come back, if you have any questions or any suggestions, you can send them to us on text or WhatsApp through the number 055968006, 055968006. And do well to stay with us. When we come back from the break, we'll answer all the questions and all your concerns, and then the show continues.
Dairy-free coconut milk. Cocoa Dairy-free coconut milk is a fully plant-based milk, non-curdling in tea or coffee, and it's a lovely treat with any breakfast beverage or meal. It contains calcium and vitamin D2 for strong teeth and bones, and vitamin B12 to help boost your blood for vitality. Cocoa is 100% vegetarian and is approved by the Vegetarian Society of UK. It's also lactose and dairy-free, which is good even for people with lactose intolerance. Cocoa, get one today. Cocoa Dairy-free coconut milk. Nature's health at your doorstep. For bulk purchases, contact 027-444-0180. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA. Cocoa Dairy-free coconut milk.
I am a member.
I am also a member.
I am a proud member.
I am a proud member.
We are all Seventh-day Adventists.
Hi, I am Steve, the Administrative Secretary for the Mountain View Ghana Conference. Over the past few years that I've served as a secretary, I've come to understand that the member is the most important asset of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. To this, we say, there cannot be any church without members. So from today, all church members are to visit their local secretarial desk to ascertain the following:
the name, the date of birth, the place of birth, the gender. Then you would also have to give information about the father and the mother.
And again, each member is to add contact address, the phone number, and an email address.
The education, occupation, and then the marital status of the individual would also have to be given.
Don't forget, we need a clear picture of you for identification.
The General Conference, in its attempt to manage church membership records, adopted Adventist Church Management System, ACMS for short, from Southern American Division. This system provides a standardized and precise church membership records data across Adventist community worldwide. Also, it provides an easy means of gaining church member information. It enables real-time reporting from the local church through to the General Conference, not forgetting easy and quick membership transfer.
That is why the Adventist Church in Ghana, both the Northern and the Southern Ghana Union Conferences, have scheduled 2 days on the calendar of events for 2022 dubbed Membership Emphasis Day. The first date is on the 30th of April 2022 and the second 29th of October 2022. On this day, all congregations are going to preach one sermon, and members will have the opportunity to update their membership information on the ACMS. If you are a member, don't be left out.
Welcome back to the consulting room. We are having a conversation on antibiotics, antimicrobials, and how we are getting resistant to these very life-saving medications, and how people are abusing it, and how even babies are getting resistant to it. Can you imagine a baby that has not taken any drug before, even water? Some babies have not taken water before and they get sick, and you go and do the culture, you go and do further tests on it, their blood or their urine or their body fluids, and they are all the organism causing the baby to be sick is resistant to all the medications available. What will you do in such a situation? Imagine you have all the money in the world to buy whatever drug you need for your baby, or even yourself. Put yourself in that situation. Picture yourself in that situation. You have the money to buy the drugs to get the best of health care, yet your money cannot get you what is not existing because you are resistant to it. So how do we prevent this thing that is happening, the resistance that is happening with our antibiotics and the drugs on the market?
There are lots we can do to prevent them.
Okay.
So I think COVID has taught us a lot of lessons. And one thing is to wash our hands. Yeah. Washing our hands is one of the simplest things we can do to prevent antimicrobial resistance.
Oh, okay.
So I bumped into a conversation with two guys, and they are like, hey, COVID has helped us. So I was like, why? They said, excuse me to say, sometimes they go to the washroom, come back, and they wouldn't even wash their hands.
And they'll come and greet you.
Sure. But with the inception of COVID now, like hand washing has become a very integral part of us, and they would want to always wash their hands. So in preventing antimicrobial resistance, hand washing is a great part. Because the soap we use is able to dissolve the lipids that is around the viruses and the bacteria. So the fat content that is around the bacteria.
What does it do?
So that is what sustains the bacteria. That's what gives them life.
Okay.
So the soap dissolves it, and then it is washed out. So you've killed it.
That's good. That's good.
Secondly, too, please, if we want to prevent antimicrobial resistance, we should keep our vaccinations to date. Vaccinations are very important. So if you have taken your vaccination, you know that this kind of Delta coronavirus, any variant, because it is mutation that is taking place in these viruses, that is why we are getting the different kinds. But then if you have taken vaccination, you are protected.
Okay.
I think thirdly, I want to say that we should not do underdosing and overdosing. That is, if I'm given this medication and I'm told to take it 7 days, morning, afternoon, evening, I must go strictly to it. I shouldn't do 3 days. When I feel well,
but the doctor doesn't know my body more than I know. He knows me.
Yes, so the medication has concentrations, I hope I'm right, that do work. So the pharmacist will tell us that this concentration of drug has a time limit to work. So you need to take it from this time to that time. So if you are asked to take it 7 days, and you do 4 days, 3 days, 5 days, or you are supposed to take 7 days, but after the 7 days, you still think you are unwell, so you go to the pharmacy, take the box. This is what I was given the last time. Can you please supply it again? We are not doing ourselves any good.
Okay. So washing our hands, completing our vaccinations, and taking the drugs as we are supposed to. If it is 7 days, 7 days. Not a day less, not a day more. Okay. So, Dr. Nyantechi.
What I want to add is herbal medicine. I think people, there are some good ones, but there are some bad ones too. people take all sort of herbal concoctions in the name of killing the bacteria. Even some of them uses these concoctions as enemas for their children. You can imagine what these enemas contain. Some of them already have exposed bacteria, which is going to flash, and some of these things also have these antibiotics in them, which is going to be, so sometimes the route of administration even of the antibiotics, like as I said, if it's supposed to be swallowed, it's supposed to be swallowed. If it's a cream, cream. If it is not a cream, don't crush it and put it on your skin or into the wound. If it is not an enema, don't add it to a concoction. Some people do, they go and buy this, after taking a dewormer, they go and buy MMB. That's what they normally say. It's an old drug. I think a lot of people know it.
You sure?
Yes, hey. They will add it.
Yes.
Don't worry, they will add it to this laxative and drink it, all in the name that after taking the dewormer they have to cleanse the system, and these are sure banker antimicrobial resistance cause. So,
I'm surprised.
Don't be.
Yes.
You take dewormer and you take something
you need
in
to
addition.
Clear the system.
Yes, the things that people are doing. You'll be surprised. So all these things, we are just admonishing everybody to take their antibiotics in the right way, in the right dose, and if you are not prescribed antibiotic, don't force it on yourself, because sometimes you don't need it. Some are just viral diseases. You don't give bacteria for it. And if we all help, and even the veterinary, if you have dogs, when they get sick, don't just go and buy something and give it to them, because these dogs will poop somewhere, the poop will go into a river, the microbes will be just going, someone will go and drink it somewhere, with little microbe will start getting sick, and that microbe would have been exposed to the antibiotic already. So definitely that person's antibiotic will not work. So it's a cycle. Thinking that you are doing it, but it happens to someone is doing. So if we all collaborate, I think we can prevent antimicrobial resistance.
And even those, as you mentioned, those who hardly take drugs and all of a sudden maybe they get into contact with some of these resistant bacteria by eating tilapia. Oh,
please, I'm not saying we shouldn't eat
No,
tilapia.
it's just fascinating that you might be taking good care of yourself, but then through no fault of yours and through someone's negligence, you have to pay such a huge price for it.
No, I want to say that even our waste management, waste management, yes, our waste management is causing a lot of antimicrobial resistance. You can't imagine sometimes someone would drain the septic tank, the water content into a normal drainage, the untreated one.
Into the gutters.
Into the gutters.
I mean, very protected child.
When it's raining, a lot of things happen. I mean, people are able to like pump it out, so it goes with the rain. And you know, where is it ending up? In our rivers, in our seas, in our ponds. The next time we will go and get red fish from that same place, and we'll come and eat. So even our waste, the way we are managing it, because it is a stool sample. The wastewater has been sent into the river. It is a normal flora in the, doc said, the intestinal tract, so it is normal. But once it goes there, someone picks it into the mouth, it becomes a different thing. So our waste management is one of the great things we have to really look at. There's a lot we have to do on antimicrobial resistance.
I'm even lost for words. Okay, so we've gotten to know some of the ways we can help prevent the resistance from happening. What are the bodies you join as a medical laboratory scientist and as a pharmacist? What is being done so that we can also help, you can also help prevent this thing from your end? What are your various organizations doing?
Okay, so what my organization is doing is what I am championing. Because you see, we see it face to face. We meet it every day. Sometimes it's like we just don't shout because we can't shout. We can't just throw our hands in the air. But you look at a sample and you see that all the tests I'm doing, everything looks resistant. And you are like, what can I do next? It's like your hands are tied down. There is nothing you can do because the harm has already been caused. We are just seeing what is finally showing. So what we are doing is to champion the cause, to tell people that please, antimicrobial resistance is a menace that is coming hard at us. We might not see it. It is a secret war. This is not like Ukraine and Russia. This is a secret war we are fighting. So we need to tell the public that this is what is happening. I think they don't see, we see. So we need to tell them what is happening. Then once they are informed, then people can take informed decisions on what to do. So what my association is doing is, so most times we even gather data. We gather data on trends we are seeing. So like where I come from, my hospital, once in a while we share with all the clinicians, with all the clinical staff. This is the trend we are seeing. Now, I mean, very sophisticated drugs are being used in the management. So let us know how we handle our clients. So that is our contribution we are giving to antimicrobial resistance. And we hope everybody will take up arms to fight against it.
Let's pray so.
For pharmacists, what we are doing is simple. A lot of pharmacists have started not giving out antibiotics when you decide to come for antibiotic. They will rather ask you what you are going to use it for. If it is what it's supposed to be, they will give it to you. If it is not, they will not. And now most pharmacies have RDTs to check for malaria so that they will at least know that you really need a malaria medicine, not just coming for because malaria is more like an OTC, so somebody can just walk in.
OTC.
More like an over-the-counter medicine.
Over-the-counter medicine.
So something that you can buy without prescription. So, we are just trying to encourage people to test before they treat. So that's what we are doing. Also, sometimes we try to do research on what new forms that you can combine. So you realize that sometimes some of the antibiotics are being combined with something else, so that you can. It's like the organism have blocked this way, so you want to take the other way. So these are some of the things that we are doing to help the fight. And mostly also now where the FDA has charged most pharmacies that if you have old medicines, don't flush them or throw them in the gutter or in the sink. Send them back to the pharmacy that you have, that you bought them from, or any pharmacy. They normally have a blue sticker or a green or blue dustbin in front. They've written FDA, so you can just go throw it in. FDA will come and pick it up for you.
Oh, and it's being practiced?
Yes, it's being practiced.
It's been a while since I went to a pharmacy.
So just ask for help. Don't just throw them away. Go to the pharmacy. I'm sure the pharmacist will help you dispose your medicines properly.
It will be difficult for Ghanaians to do because I would rather keep it, and if somebody shows the symptoms again, or
but sometimes they even get expired, and then we intend throw them away. Sometimes we mix them with our garbage and throw them away. And these garbage people just feel it's household waste, add it to the common ones, and then before you realize, you have started another chain of antimicrobial resistance. So bring it. There's a way that we treat it before we dispose it off. That's a better way. So these are some of the things that we are doing to fight it. So it's left with the patients to rather also do their part.
And I think doctors are also trying. Because well, you can't come to my consulting room and tell me that this is what I want. You need to tell me why you think you need that. And if I don't think it's reasonable, well, maybe because me and I want to do it, but then sometimes, well, it's difficult. I think it's a very difficult battle, but we hope to overcome it. And it doesn't look like it's just a problem in Ghana, is it?
No. It's a global problem.
So is it the same? Are the challenges we are facing here the same as the challenges that are faced on the global front?
No.
Yeah, it depends on the organism that is trending in that area. So if we have maybe staff areas, we have a resistant strain. In Ghana, probably they have a different strain also somewhere else. Yeah.
So we have a question from Esther in Community 25, and she says, "Hello, good evening to everyone. Great show. Please, my question is, how does the use of herbal drugs contribute to the antimicrobial resistance?" I think she didn't get that explanation.
Okay, so I didn't say herbal drugs is bad. What I was trying to say is that herbal medicines, sometimes the way we go about with them, first of all, you need to find out that if the herbal medicine registered with FDA, that one you are sure of the fact that it's a good herbal medicine. Now, if you buy the herbal medicine, don't mix it with something else. Some people decide to either mix it with all sort of concoctions and even add these antibiotics to them. And sometimes the route of administration, these herbal medicines are supposed, they have labels, maybe 30 ml 3 times a day. But some decide that I have to push it through like an enema, bentoa.
That's what I was
or sometimes they will use it to smear their skin. So the route of administration should be right. If
so route of administration is where the drug is supposed to pass before it gets.
Yes, and if they tell you also to take it maybe 3 times a day, do it same. So instructions are there. Once you go, because there are a lot of reasons why we tell somebody to take a drug once a day or 3 times a day. There's a reason. So if you don't go by it, you spoil the whole architecture.
Drugs that you take once a week.
Yes. So, there's a reason. And so I think the right dose, the right indication, let me say, the use of the drug and the right dosage and route of administration should be used in taking herbal medicine. And then also the source, it should be a good source, FDA registered, not some concoction somewhere.
Well, we have for where I work, for instance, they have a herbal medicine section. That's the, I think now most orthodox
are blending it together.
Yes, they are, but then they don't give it together. If you are doing herbal, you are purely herbal.
Yes.
If you're, and there are really good herbal drugs around.
Sure.
But then some people will go and take all these things, and sometimes we even make the herbal drugs ourselves. We go and plug these leaves.
But at least we've stayed with some old ladies who have told us how this kind of leaf works.
But do we even know what is inside the leaf before we add it?
And I think sometimes to how they prepare it, maybe you just add the hot water and some, maybe the cleaning, how you handle it, it's not done properly, because some people just take the leaves, they don't wash it, they add the hot water, sieve it, and then they start drinking. Maybe there is a process you have to go through. Maybe there's some things that you have to add, you have to wait for some time. They don't do all that because it's good. They just do the concoction themselves.
And I think we should take the herbal medicines from the approved agencies. Once it's from an approved agency, it is good to go.
At least you can give yourself that excuse that it's from the right
approved
place.
Yes, sure.
So we have just about 7 minutes to round up the show. Is there anything that you'd want to really make a point on to our viewers so that they know exactly what we are dealing with?
So can I start?
Yeah.
So viewers, as I've told you, I am very much interested in antimicrobial resistance. So last year's Antimicrobial Resistance Day was celebrated in November. That's the 3rd week in November. And the theme was spread awareness, stop resistance. It means that sometimes people are not so much aware that antimicrobial resistance is a menace and it has a lot of issues with us. So the way when COVID came, we were spreading awareness, or we're making people aware, but not making them panic. We are not trying to make you panic about the whole thing about antimicrobial resistance. The issue is that when you are well informed about issue, you take very great decisive decisions. So we would want you to make sure that decisions that you take on the use of antimicrobials is very important. And it is going to help yourself, it is going to help myself. I want to end by saying that today you have heard the news about antimicrobial resistance. You should tell someone about it so that we can stop antimicrobial resistance.
Okay. For me, what I'll tell viewers is that do not take any medicine without consulting your healthcare provider. You don't take it because someone has leftovers. You don't take it by what you think you should take it. If the doctor says 5 days, make sure you do the 5 days. Don't do less. If it is twice a day, do it twice a day. And dispose your medicines to properly. And for our farmers, those doing livestock production, poultry farming, please stop using antibiotics in the production. And when you, the feces and the waste from these animals, try to dispose them well. So as my colleague said, let's try to spread the awareness so that another person will get to know about it, and then we can stop the resistance.
Okay. So you've heard what are two very great scientists, a pharmacist and a medical laboratory scientist, have said concerning antibiotics. Let's come to our language, our level. Antibiotics. The resistance. Well, we understand antibiotics really well. So
Okay.
you've heard what they've said about drugs in general. Wash your hands to help prevent the resistance that is coming. That is what I'm taking home. Wash your hands regularly. It's not just because of COVID. COVID is there, yes, but then if COVID doesn't kill you, a bacterial infection can kill you, especially if you get the resistant bacteria. Wash your hands, take your drugs as you are supposed to. Complete your drugs. If it is 7 days, take it. If it is 2 days, take it. Don't save some for the future. You don't need it for the future. Aside washing hands,
your vaccinations,
make sure that you are vaccinated, fully vaccinated,
and manage your waste very well.
Don't go allowing your fecal waste, your septic tank waste to flow into these gutters that eventually will get into our water bodies. And as we are trying to take care of ourselves, let's remember to drink cocoa milk to build up our bodies. Everybody can take cocoa milk, right? From babies to our elderly people. There's no lactose in it, so you won't get running stomach for you to think that you have to go and take antibiotics. Pregnant women can take it. Breastfeeding mothers can take it. It's safe for everybody, and you can get it in all shops. In all shops, all the Melcom shops, NS Chemist shops, the Valley View shops, and do well to join us next week when we come back to the consulting room, because as I've always said, this is the show that you get to learn all the interesting things about your health and your body. So do well to join us next week, and if you someone missed it, they can watch the repeat on Tuesdays and Saturdays. Have a good evening.
Youth